What's your name?
My name's Christian, sorry.
What is it?
Christian.
Christian. And what was your name?
Oh, Lamar.
Lamar, let me see. Hey,
Alright, so you were speaking about education.
Yes.
And there's a statistic out that proves that with after-school activities, it keeps students busy, which keeps them out of trouble.
Yep.
And that's been a statistic that's been noticed in many parts of the country.
Yep.
And so one of my big questions is, how are you going to fit are you planning to put after-school activities into our schools, especially in the Hampton Roads area, with a decreasing school budget and with the Secretary Betsy DeVos for Education, also planning to decrease the school budget over the next term or so and favoring it towards private schools? How do you plan to combat that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and we absolutely need to be expanding after-school services for children and in-school services. I mean, they're taking out a lot of things like the arts and sports, that really allow kids to develop leadership, keep them out of trouble, and bring them down the right path. And so I think we need to up our investment from the state level to our localities. And we have differentials. Very wealthier districts obviously have more opportunities. They're funded primarily by the property tax, so it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you live in a higher wealth area, they're going to have more resources. And what we need to do is kind of make sure that those that don't have as many resources get that support from the state. Unfortunately, at the federal level, you talked about, the Secretary of Education they're taking us down exactly the wrong path, and I'm proud to have been endorsed by the teachers, the VEA, and this is something that we have to focus on because we often talk about the cost of these things, but we never talk about something that was implicit in your question, which is the cost of not doing these things. And this is why I've talked about the school-to-prison pipeline in particular. We spend $27,000 per year to house an adult in our state prisons, on average. We spend $150,000 per year, per juvenile, to house them in our state prisons. I'll say it again, $150,000 a year per juvenile is what we pay. And so when people tell me, well, we don't have funding for after-school programs or summer work programs or sports or band, I say, well, it's amazing to me that we always seem to find that $150,000 when we're locking a kid up, for a drug charge or for something else. We always seem to have that $150,000, but when we need a small fraction of that to invest in them so we don't end up in the criminal justice system, everybody wants to talk to us about cost. So we got to just change the entire paradigm of the way that we talk about and think about this issue. So absolutely, I will be a staunch advocate for investing state dollars and trying to get federal dollars to fund these kinds of programs. Very quickly, in my schooling and when I was earlier, actually the summertime, that's when so many children get into trouble, right? If you have idle time, my grandmother used to say, idle hands are the devil's workshop, right? If you're sitting around and you don't have anything to do, you often find yourself getting into trouble. Well, we need to be providing opportunities particularly for young people at very early ages to have jobs where they can work, to have summer opportunities for enrichment, for STEM education. And my earliest job where I got a paycheck was actually through a summer works program. And I actually was cleaning a church for the whole summer. It was the first time I'd ever gotten a paycheck. I loved it. I was probably making about $5 an hour. But it taught me work ethic. It gave me an opportunity. It kept me out of trouble and set me on a path. And so we need to provide that for all of our young people.